Kim Kardashian just revealed in the season 7 premiere of the Kardashians that she was diagnosed with a brain aneurysm. She got an MRI and doctors found what she described as a little aneurysm. And it seems like she was told that it was likely caused by stress, maybe linked to her divorce from Kanye West. Everyone's in the comments, panicking, like asking, what's an aneurysm? Should I be worried? Can stress really cause this? That's why I'm here. So let's talk about this, because here's what most people do not know. My name is Dr. Emmanuel Ogu. I am a board-certified family medicine physician, and let's get right into it. So right now, as you're watching this video, there is a 1 in 20 to 1 in 30 chance that you might have a brain aneurysm. Now, before you panic, you will probably live your entire life without it ever causing a single problem. But there is one symptom that means you need to drop everything you're doing and call 911 immediately. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what it is. Kim's diagnosis is actually a perfect opportunity to educate people about this because there's so much confusion and fear around it. I'm going to explain this in plain English, no medical jargon, no confusion. And by the time we're done, you'll understand what a brain aneurysm actually is, whether Kim's situation is as scary as it sounds, who's really at risk, and the one warning sign that could literally save your life or someone you love. Now, let's break it down. Okay, first things first. What is a brain aneurysm in plain English? Because when Kim said they found a little aneurysm, a lot of people got scared and they had no idea what that meant. Now, picture a garden hose. Water flows through it under pressure, right? Now imagine that there's a weak spot somewhere along the line of that hose. And over time, that weak spot starts to bulge out, due to all the pressure, kind of like a balloon forming on the side. And that bulge, that's basically what an aneurysm is. In your brain, you have blood vessels. These are like tiny highways carrying blood everywhere it needs to go. And sometimes a weak spot develops in the wall of one of those vessels. It could be a larger vessel or a smaller vessel. And blood pressure pushes continuously against that weak spot and it bulges out, just like the garden hose. And that is your aneurysm. About 1 in every 20 to 1 in every 30 people walking around right now, has one of these. So we're talking about millions of people here in the US alone and a lot more around the world. It could be your coworker, it could be your family member, it could be your neighbor, maybe even you. But, and this is really important, the vast majority of these aneurysms will never cause any problems, ever. Most people who have them will die of something completely unrelated, and they'll never even know that the aneurysm was there. This is likely Kim's situation. She got a routine scan, had no symptoms, and they found it incidentally, and now they'll just monitor it. So why are we talking about this? It's because there are two situations where this matters, and we need to understand both of them. Let's talk about Kim's situation first, and then we can cover the emergency situation afterwards. So Kim's situation is where you find a discovered aneurysm incidentally. So she went in for what seems like a routine MRI. We don't know exactly why. It could have been due to headaches, maybe preventive health, routine scans, or it could be anything. During that scan, doctors spotted a small aneurysm. She said it was little, which is actually a good sign because smaller aneurysms are less likely to rupture. Her doctors said it was likely due to stress. Now, we'll talk about the stress connection in a minute, but what this likely means is that they found it. Now, they're going to monitor it with regular scans, and she'll probably just be fine. This is the story for most people whose aneurysms are discovered. Now, the emergency scenario. Now, this scenario is when the aneurysm ruptures. That means it bursts. And when this happens, blood leaks into the space around your brain. And this is called a hemorrhagic stroke. And this is a medical emergency. You can actually die from it. And we need to call 911 immediately. You need emergency intervention. The good news is ruptures are relatively rare. The better news is there's usually a very clear warning sign, and I'm going to tell you exactly what it is in just a minute. But first, let's address that whole stress question that Kim brought up, since everyone's talking about stress and aneurysms. So Kim said her doctors told her it was just stress. And in the episode, she connects it to the emotional toll of her divorce from Kanye, including issues with co-parenting their kids, public scrutiny, and ongoing conflicts as a couple or previous couple. Let's unpack this because everyone's asking, can stress really cause a brain aneurysm? And the answer is, it's not that simple. Stress doesn't directly create an aneurysm like, flipping a light switch on or off. But here's what actually happens. If you're someone that's experiencing chronic ongoing stress, this can raise your blood pressure. And when your blood pressure is consistently elevated, it puts extra pressure on your blood vessel walls, including any weak spots like we mentioned earlier that might already exist. And over time, with this pressure, this can contribute to the formation, or maybe you already had an aneurysm before, it can cause it to grow bigger. So when her doctor said stress, what they likely meant was your chronic stress has been contributing to cardiovascular strain, and that's just a piece of the puzzle here. It's not like one bad week caused or stressful week caused an aneurysm to pop up. No, it's more about the cumulative effect of chronic stress on your cardiovascular system, which can happen over months and years. The American Heart Association confirms that stress is linked to cardiovascular disease, through both direct effects on your body like raising your blood pressure and increasing inflammation, and also indirect behavioral changes like, stress eating, not exercising, or picking up habits like smoking. So yes, managing stress matters for your brain health, but it's just one factor amongst many, not the only cause. Kim's aneurysm likely developed from a combination of factors. It could be genetics, blood pressure, elevation, stress, and there were some things that we can't even identify. The takeaway here is that chronic stress is worth managing, but don't panic thinking that one stressful period in your life is going to give you an aneurysm. Now, let's talk about symptoms. This is crucial information, so please pay close attention. We will divide this into two categories. The first one is the unruptured aneurysms, like Kim's case. Most of the time, you'll have zero symptoms, like in her situation. Nothing at all. Kim probably had no symptoms whatsoever. They just found it on the scan incidentally. But if you have a larger aneurysm that's pressing on brain tissues or nerves, you might notice vision changes. Maybe you have double vision. You could have pain above or behind your eye. Maybe one pupil could look bigger than the other, numbness on one side of your face, or difficulty speaking, depending on the size and location of the aneurysm. Again, most people feel absolutely nothing. These symptoms are relatively rare. Kim likely felt nothing, which is why the diagnosis was a surprise to her and likely to her doctors also. Now, the second category is a ruptured aneurysm, which is the emergency. This is the critical information, and I need you to remember this, not just for yourself, but for anyone around you who might need help someday. The number one sign of a ruptured brain aneurysm is what doctors call a thunderclap headache. So now, imagine the worst headache you've ever had in your life. Then now, multiply it by 100, and imagine it hits you instantly. So not gradually getting worse, boom, at once, it's there. People describe it as feeling like they got hit in the head with a baseball bat, or like their head is exploding. So if you're around anyone or you yourself experiences this kind of sudden severe headache, especially if you think or they say that this is the worst headache I've ever had, please call 911. Don't wait to see if it gets any better. You don't take some aspirin and say, hey, I want to lie down and see if it gets better. No. Call for help immediately. You need to be evaluated emergently. Other signs that might come with that headache could be, throwing up, have severe nausea, or you could have a stiff neck where you can't bend your head forward. Sometimes you can have a blurred or double vision, or the sensation like you're about to pass out, or even pass out. Some people might have seizures, or could even be really confused and find it difficult to stay alert. The bottom line is, in this situation, having a sudden, severe, worst headache of your life that comes on like a thunderclap, that is an emergency, and you need to call 911. That one piece of information could literally save someone's life. So now, you might be wondering, am I at risk for this? The truth is, aneurysms can happen to anyone, but certain factors do increase your chances. I'm breaking this down into two groups. Things you can't control and things that you can control, just to make it easier to remember. So let's talk about things you can't control. The first one is age. Aneurysms tend to be more common, between the ages 30 and 60. So if you're in this range, you are at a higher risk age group. So Kim Kardashian is 45, right in the middle of that window. The second factor is gender. So women are more likely to get brain aneurysms than men, especially after menopause. And it's likely because of hormonal changes that happen after menopause. Number 3, family history. So this is a big one. If 2 or more people in your immediate family, let's talk about your parents, your siblings, or even your kids, have had brain aneurysms, your risk goes up significantly. This suggests that there's likely a genetic component. Genetic conditions like polycystic kidney disease, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, or certain connective tissue disorders also increase your risk because they affect the integrity of the blood vessels. Now, let's talk about what you can actually control here, because while you can't change your age or your genetics, there's a lot of things you can do. Number 1, quit smoking or never start. So if you're someone that smokes, stopping is the biggest thing you can do for your brain health, like I said earlier, period. No judgment here, it's just facts. Quitting protects your blood vessels. If you're someone that doesn't smoke, great job. Please do not start. Number 2, manage your blood pressure. Please get it checked regularly, at least once a year, and more often if you have risk factors. If your blood pressure is high, work with your doctor to get it under control, whether that's through medication, diet changes, exercise, weight loss, or all of the above. Number 3, limit your alcohol consumption. So you don't have to drink a lot. Excessive drinking puts stress on your cardiovascular system. I say avoid alcohol completely, but if you have to, please keep it moderate. Number 4, stay physically active. Regular exercise helps keep your blood pressure healthy. It strengthens your cardiovascular system and keeps your blood vessels more flexible. Try to aim for about at least 150 minutes of moderate activity every week. And number 5, manage your stress. This is what Kim's situation really highlights. Find healthy ways to cope with stress. This could be, exercise, meditation, therapy, hobbies, or time with your friends. Cardiovascular system will thank you because chronic stress can be important. And number 6, avoid recreational drugs, especially stimulants like cocaine and methamphetamines. These can cause dangerous spikes in your blood pressure that will damage your vessel walls. Number 7, try to eat a heart-healthy diet. What's good for your heart is good for your brain. Focus on vegetables, fruits, whole grains, lean proteins, and healthy fats. Look, you do not have to be perfect. Nobody is. But making some of these changes, even if it's just a few, can genuinely reduce your risk. Small steps tend to add up over time. Now, quick answer to the question everyone's asking. Should I go get screened for a brain aneurysm because of how common it is? I'll say for most people, the answer is no. Doctors don't recommend routine screening for everyone because aneurysms are typically harmless in most cases, and finding one might cause unnecessary anxiety. Even the treatment itself has its risks. However, and this is important, talk to your doctor about screening if you have 2 or more close family members, could be your parents, siblings, children who have had brain aneurysms, or you have polycystic kidney disease or certain connective tissue disorders like Ehlers-Danlos syndrome or Marfan syndrome, or you've had the previous brain aneurysm. If any of these apply to you, have that conversation with your doctor. They can help you assess your risk and decide if screening makes sense for your situation. But for everyone else, focus on the prevention steps we just talked about. All right, let's bring this home. We started with Kim Kardashian's diagnosis, so let's come back to that. Kim should be okay. Based on what she shared, a small aneurysm found on a routine scan, she'll likely just be monitored with regular MRIs to make sure it stays stable. She has access to excellent medical care, her doctors are aware and they're watching it, and the odds are, I guess, very much in her favor. But her sharing this publicly, that is actually really valuable, more valuable than a lot of people think. It's opened up an important conversation about something that affects millions of people, but doesn't get talked about much. Kim is using her massive platform to talk about her health, which helps everyone. It destigmatizes these conversations, whether it's about a brain aneurysm, mental health struggles, autoimmune conditions, or any other health issue. Talking about it openly saves lives and helps people feel less alone. I hope this video cleared things up for you and helped you understand what's actually going on. The goal here isn't to scare you or create health anxiety. It is to inform you, empower you, and make sure you know the warning signs that matter. Knowledge is power, but let's not let it turn into worry, okay? If you found this helpful, please hit the like button. It really helps more people find this information. You could also subscribe for more health content that actually makes sense. And I try breaking down complex topics into easily understandable words. And also drop a comment below if you have questions. I try to read them all and answer as many as I can. That would be really helpful. Take care of yourself. Please stay informed, and I'll see you in the next one.